didn't like. It's not like I bought the deal and all of a sudden I started making all this money and all this stuff, right?
Can you tell
But
people about that imagination where like when they get an opportunity, they just assume that like, oh, like all my problems have been solved, quote unquote. Can you kind of like tell people a little bit about how to get out of that imagination instead of just because I feel like people are still kind of like,
when they buy a deal,
or they just receive a deal. When they get a deal, they get a little happy because they get some money in their pockets. They're gonna they're good, but they only think about that aspect. They don't think of it, the opportunity that come with it. They understand they only think about it in one point of view. Can you tell the viewers like in a multiple different perspective of like how people should think about what you about deals?
yeah. So anytime you buy a deal or you sell a deal or you come up on an assignment fee because you sold a deal, whatever the case is, whether it was a failed attempt, a successful deal, whatever it is, I want you guys to start focusing on the relationships that you came across during that deal. The
Mm-hmm.
contractors, maybe a property manager, maybe a seller or a buyer, or think about the relationships that deal has brought you, because it's actually more powerful than money, way more powerful than money. A lot of times we give a little money and we're like, oh shit, you didn't focus on all the other things, and you're like, you're forgetting about all the relationships that you created from that one deal. If you're buying a deal, and especially if it's something that needs work and TLC in it, you're going to deal most likely with painters. You're going to deal with handyman. You're going to deal with electricians. You're going to deal with HVAC people. You're going to deal with roofers. You might deal with a property manager. You might deal with a seller. You might deal with a buyer. Think about all the people that are involved in one transaction. Title company, insurance rep. These are relationships that you guys should cultivate. This is your database. It's important for you guys to nurture your database, love on your database. Because these are people who will bring you future deals, and these will be your future private money lenders. And other things as well. Partners, stuff like that, business partners, etc. So, going back to the deal that I was just mentioning, once I found the recipe, that duplex that I bought, once I found the recipe, once I tasted the recipe that I cooked, once I understood the power of real estate, once I saw the cash flow coming in. Because remember, not only was I making like net $1,200 a month, I was living for free. The asset was paying for itself. I was just the individual holding all the liability at the time because I was the note holder, right? I was the one who signed the note. The bank was the note holder. I was the one who owed the bank, and I was also the one who signed the mortgage, right? So the liability's on me, right? So once I saw that me owning this piece of real estate gave me tons of cash flow, let me live for free, gave me so much leverage in the sense of I was able to rent out other bedrooms, I was able to get cash flow, I was able to utilize half the duplex for Airbnb, gave me all these different leverage points, gave me access to things I would not think I would have access to. Once I saw that recipe, that was it. It was a wrap. I was addicted. And yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of you viewers who are watching this are probably like, man, that sounded like it went really well. Well, it doesn't mean like everybody's first deal is going to be just like that. Remember, whether the deal goes exactly how you think it was going to go, as planned, it's an attempt, guys. Don't look at it as like, oh, I failed, and I'm fearful of doing another one. It was an attempt. What are your takeaways? How do you do it better? And just know that your attempts won't always go 100% successful. To this day, I have attempts that I make that aren't 100% successful. But it's actually the attempts that make me successful, if that makes sense.
No, you're not wrong. I think that instead trial and error, there's always gonna happen. I think that sometimes, when we fall, you have to pick ourselves up,
Yep.
and not every day. Sometimes you have your good days, or sometimes you have a good opportunity. Sometimes it was a waste, and sometimes you have to get back from that. You have to bounce back. So Javier, he's doing his thing, and he's bouncing back. So, people think that this is easy. This ain't easy. You know, this is a lot, you know, time and effort, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of patience, and just taking the chance to basically, you know, turn nothing to something. So, I say that I believe if anybody who's interested in this game, you just gotta just take a risk, and when you fall, you just have to get back up.
Yep.
So, when when you got that duplex and you were living one side of the other, where did you go from there? What was the transition from buying a duplex to then starting to buy a house?
I wanted to buy another duplex. I wanted to buy something else I can house hack. So I bought another primary residence property. I outgrew that primary residence property because you're allowed to buy one primary residence per year. And I outgrew that primary residence. You know, it was too small of a property, so I, you know, grew into something bigger, and I bought another primary residence that year again. So my goal, actually, when I first started selling or buying real estate at the time, and I didn't walk away from my realtor business. Like, that was still money coming in as well. I was smart. I kept that going as well at the same time as becoming a real estate investor. So I bought another primary that I house hacked, and then I kept rinsing and repeating the process every year. So I kept my goal very simple. My goal when I first started real estate investing was, how do I buy one property per year in a 365-day calendar year? How do I buy one damn property? Now tell me, you can't buy at least one property in a 365-day year calendar. Like, out of 365, you can't buy one property. That was my goal, just to buy one property. And I just kept buying one property per year for the next 2 to 3 years.
So start off with one property.
Very, very slow.
Okay.